What's up, fellow lords of gaming? Welcome back to the channel. We're jumping right into this I guess 1000.1 May update. I'm still confused and thrown off by the May. I thought the 9-year anniversary was the May update, but we got the Wonder Twins powers activated instead for the month of May, and we've got Quicksilver and Wanda. I'll leave the video for Wanda in here in a minute, but let's jump in with the news on Quicksilver first. So, all right, it's been a while since we saw our boy Pietro get an update. I mean, Summer Days was quite a while ago. Summer Days was a while ago. Jesus, hard to think that it was that long ago. But our boy Pietro is finally returning to form, and he's gonna get an update. It looks like he's gonna be ready to set to take on some characters. So let's take a look at that real quick. So over on the forum, the superhero who has been under control of Chthon has been released with the help of the mighty Avengers. Check out the new look and abilities of this superhero who fights against Sentry, who has become the Void. Alrighty, so his kit is, I don't know, it looks like he's gonna have some major updates to his kits, including maybe some animation changes for his tier 3. So we'll take a look at these real quick. So all right. So Quicksilver is going to be a speed superhero. The uniform is going to be 1,050 crystals. Not surprised by that at all. This was his previous uniform. We're comparing it to this one, even though I don't think that's the one that they're comparing it to. I don't know why they do that. But this is the Summer Days uniform. So you can see here, this was the previous effect. All they did to this uniform in terms of giving a new uniform effect is basically changing this to 20%. And then supposedly enhancing the skill of Unstoppable Momentum, which was his passive, just a little bit. So we'll see what that looks like. All right, so let's start off on the list. So this was his tier 3 skill. Nothing really changed here. Supposedly the animation's gonna be changed, I think. So we'll see what that looks like. But overall skill still the same. Agility still has the 45%, still has the 50, still has they only changed the skill damage here by 5%. That's it. So it's just a 5% increase to the skill damage. That's it. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing with these uniforms. Let me go back and see if I can just take a look at the skills inside of here. There we go. All right, and then Unstoppable Momentum. They've changed this one here. So now he has the all damage immunity. So the 70% penetration is there. Then he gets super armor, and increase all basic defenses by 30%. So essentially that's the change. So the 5% here and the super armor with all defenses for 30% here. So that's the change that they had from the uniform effect. Let's take a look at the skills. So number 1, rapid dash, still incapacitation for 3 seconds. Still paralysis, which ignores immunity. Still physical damage at 75%. The additional damage is uptick to 866. Still 8 seconds. LightSpeed punch is going to be the new skill instead of it being fancy footwork. So we keep the decrease all speeds by 20. We gain paralysis on this skill, and we also have the physical damage, which is reduced to 65% of physical attack. And an additional 433. I'm assuming the paralysis on both these skills, like stun in place, you don't want them doing too much damage, I suppose. His third skill being not yet is now Resonance Phenomenon. He has stun on this skill. So stun is on this skill. He has the incapacitation effect on this skill, the invincible for 5 seconds, and he has the physical damage of 70% of physical attack. So you can see here the recovery effect, the dodge rate increase, and the accumulation are moved to other skills. Like that's what they've basically done here. So let's take a look at this further. So on his 4th skill, which was the speed shockwave, which was speed sonic boom, is now speed shockwave. Still an ignore targeting effect. He has the incapacitation still on here. He decreases all basic defenses on this skill. And then he has the recovery effect on this skill as well now for 30% of HP. He also removes all debuffs, and then he has a frenzy buff that was there already, but that's increased to 51 and then 20%, and it removes incapacitation. We know that, right? And then we get the physical damage is uptick to 80% of physical attack and additional 217 physical damage. So there we go. His 5th skill is now going to be called Maximoff Unity. So I'm expecting that we're gonna see Wanda show up in this skill. Like, that's my expectation. But he gets the stun, he gets the snare, and you can see here the dodge rate increase has been moved to this skill, along with the accumulation is now on his 5th skill, so accumulates 10% of pure damage when attacking, and then 1% increase, and then he gets a buff to the skills here. Physical damage is 115 of physical attack, and additional damage is 174. So just the additional damage, just a little nerf there. Now, also important, because I'm wondering how this is going to play out, cooldown time on that one was 12 seconds. It's now 14 seconds, but the cooldown time on this one was 16 seconds and is reduced to 14 seconds. So it looks like they've optimized that one just a little bit, while the 3rd skill is also at like 15-second increased time from the previous 3rd skill. So important to pay attention to that, just a little bit, you know what I mean? So we'll have to see overall how the character basically performs. He is getting a tier 4, so that's highly important. Just remember to take a look at that, because the tier 4 is obviously going to be some bread and butter there. So let's take a look at our girl who I think everybody's going to be excited about, and that's Wanda, although I think people are going to revolt in the comment sections below. So let's go and see this. So uniform looks good overall. We'll have to see what it pans out to in game. I always like to see what the detail is, because their videos, I don't know, the quality on their caps don't look very good in my opinion. So she can warp and alter reality. She's gained new powers to power together with her twin brother. We're going to check out these looks, who has this strong telekinesis abilities and expert knowledge of sorcery. So she's going to be the last update for the May update launch. Let's take a look at her inside of here. So this was the previous uniform that we had for her. It was the this was the Doctor Strange 2 uniform. Let's take a look at this one real quick. And so here she's going to also be 1,050 crystals, so you're going to need 2,100 crystals for these uniforms overall. I think you might be a little disappointed with what the text is here, which is why we're going to have to wait and see for what it is. But I hate when they do this, just because it sullies what the uniforms are about. And it's one of the reasons why I keep calling for a transmog system. Is one of the reasons why I keep saying that the uniform system in this game has become somewhat outdated, and they need to change what's going on here, because it's becoming more and more apparent to the player base that these are just optimization changes to characters. We get these for free in a lot of games. So let's take a look at this overall. So the uniform effect. She keeps the ignore target's dodge rate by 25, the increased mind damage goes up to 35, and the decreased basic damage received is still 30%. So just a 5% upgrade here to the mind damage, and that's it. So now let's go take a look at her skills. All right, so let's start off with fatal curse, or what was control chaos. So you can see here she gets the increased guaranteed crit rate by 25%. So that's a huge passive to basically get the guaranteed crit rate by 25%. Helps you build out her kit as well, because that means that, you know, you don't have to do a lot to hit there. But she keeps the 60% chance to penetrate. She increases the scale damage by 40 and the damage bonus by 40. So no changes there. So the effect reactivates in 7 seconds after it's removed. So she's like, I'm back, bitches. So her other passive, which was Awaken Magic, is now gonna be Cascading Chaos. So she gets increased chain hit damage by 10% when she's attacking. So this lets you know right away that the skills are receiving some serious overhauls, because she's getting an increased chain hit damage on her passive abilities, and that means that you're gonna have to, like, I know people are gonna look at this and be like, oh fuck, she's just copy and paste and stuff. That's a massive difference to basically have chain hit damage triggering off there. It's a big thing, so we're gonna have to see what that looks like in here overall. And the guaranteed crit rate as well, in terms of passives, the chain hit damage and the passive, those could be huge in terms of how the kit plays and how they've laid out the skills. So I would reserve that, you know, while these updates to her are going to look minimal, the chain hit damage being added, and then the guaranteed crit rate being there at 25%, this should be pretty good for the kit overall, but we'll have to see. So overall, so yeah, we'll have to see what that is. So the increased basic all attacks is going to be up by 30, 30, and then 1 is still there. So all basic attempts, all basic attacks, 30, 30. I don't know why they have it written like that instead of just being basic attack, basic defense, and it's just all, you know, all basic, whatever, and then 30%. Seems like it's be harder on the system, but anyways, whatever. So we'll go past that for her passive. So let's take a look at her first skill, which is going to be Witch's Flight. She gets the snare on this effect. She gets a decrease mine resistance, which stacks only up to 30%. Instead of the 50% that we see here on the previous uniform. The mine damage is at 100% of energy attack instead of the 30%, and then the additional damage is 289. So you can see here that that first skill is going to receive a major upgrade in terms of it, because it's 70% in terms of the mine damage that's being done of the energy attack total. So that's a lot more in the kit. Rune of Defense is keeping the stun 2 seconds. The accumulation is here, no changes except that they do a slight, and I do mean a slight uptick from 0.4 to 0.5. Listen, this is where the kit's gonna fail, right? Because not fail, and I'm not saying fail, I'm gonna say fail in terms of people's mind, because if she doesn't turn out to be as powerful as people want her to be, we're gonna see people point to this as the reason for why. And it's going to be like, hey, the accumulation effect, like most characters have a 1% increase instead of, she's got like a 0.5 increase. Like, that's ridiculous. And then we get mine damage, 150% of energy attack, an additional 174. So nice uptick there in the mine damage by just a little bit, 5%. But I reserved, because Wanda has the ability to be strong. We have to see what the animations look like. The animations mean a lot to the kids. So Endless Magic is going to be the new third skill. It's going to have silence on it. She's going to increase mine damage by 35%. And then the mine damage is 60% of energy attack and an additional 174 mine damage. So this skill has been stripped a little bit because the recovery effect basically is not there, and the all damage immunity is also not there. And I don't see the damage immunity move to any of her other skills, which is the crazy part. The recovery is going to be moved, so we'll see that in a second. Mystic Rage is now going to be called Scarlet Blast. She gets the burn on this one. She gets the paralysis, which ignores immunity. She gets 100% chance to grant all. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I don't know why I didn't see it before when I read through it. So she gets the 100% chance to all damage immunity on this skill, and then the mine damage is going to be 55% of energy attack and an additional 116. So a little bit of a nerf there, a little bit of a nerf. Her fifth skill is going to be Demise Constellation. So we get Mind Control. Mind Control, increased basic damage received by 6% for 5 seconds, right? And then we get Fracture on this skill, and then we get a decreased mine resistance, which stacks up to 70%, which is crazy because it was already at 100%, so it's a bit of a nerf there. And then we get Paralysis, which ignores immunity, the recovery of 20% HP, which seems relatively low. She gets Invincible for 7 seconds, and the mine damage is 70% of energy attack with an additional 174. Like, I think people are going to look at this and they're going to probably, like, I'll go down to the comment section in a second because I'm dying to see what people had to say about this one. All right, so Quicksilver is getting his tier 4. Like, I have to be honest with you guys. These tier 4s are just looking like ridiculous to me at this point. Like, they look like we never needed the tier 4. When the Striker skill is used, increase all basic attacks by 45%, 7 seconds. Dodges 30 hits, including attacks with ignore dodge, which is nice, and increases damage dealt by 60% when dodging for 7 seconds. Okay, like, this looks like this could have just been on like a passive though for some reason to me. And the increase all basic attack, like, that's the thing that I'm not really caring too much for with the T4s and some of the updates, is that some of these things look like they would have just been built into pieces of the kit instead of being built into, like, you know, separate skills and stuff like this. These things are just like really looking like that. I don't know. And then Scarlet Witch has and increases the active buff effect by 20% and increases basic damage by 60%, which decreases by 6% every 1 second. So immediate pop, like you got to get it all in the beginning. Otherwise this shit is just trailing down. So it's like immediate pop. 60. Basically they could have just wrote this to be like, you know, a one-time attack. Basically it's that, you know, like for one attack, increases basic damage by 60% for one attack. Like the decreasing effect over time for 1 second. There's got to be some like animations on hers where it's just basically like continuous kind of like hits basically around that are going to be really powerful. So you get the impact and then it kind of whittles down as she stops the animation. Got to see the skills, guys. Got to see the skills before you totally judge. Quicksilver is receiving a artifact. He's got the 20% chance to dodge all attacks and an additional 0.5% of total instinct. So that's a good one for him. I don't think I have Scarlet. Oh, I do have her 4-star. Scarlet already has one in here, so you can see she increases basic damage dealt to superheroes and supervillains. And then, you know, you can get up there on hers if you want to. I don't know what custom gear. I had Rage on her still. So like essentially when you look at Scarlet and Quicksilver, you got a PvP and then a PvE character orientation inside of here. Should be good. One thing of note that I do want to point out is they did finally fix the dispatch mission 12.3, so you won't get stuck on that one wall and not be able to move, and now you can complete it. Thank God, because that was pissing me off. I left that thing for a night or something like that, and it just was like, no, didn't do anything the first time I noticed it, but okay, thank God for that. So outside of that, they do have some events that they are basically starting inside the game. So let's take a look at those real quick. I'm gonna pull those up on screen. So you do have the Powerful Twins update inside of here. So you can see here, we're basically gonna get the same things that we normally have, the 40% uniform discount. We can see here Scarlet Witch's uniform options and Quicksilver uniform options. MODOK is a relatively new uniform, so that's a good one for him, although I don't think a lot of people needed to buy into that one. Green Goblin, Red Goblin is a great uniform for him, still you know, within that range. Namor is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. This is a really good uniform. Wolverine, this is terrible. Like I don't get it. Like, why did they go with that uniform? I hate that uniform, to be perfectly honest, the way it looks and everything. And then we get Strife Classic. So this could be a relatively expensive upgrade. Thank God Namor's somewhat free to play, but remember you've got to get his BIOS from another place. And then Wolverine and Strife. And then Quicksilver's get Spider-Man Miles Morales, the anniversary special. I think a lot of people like that uniform, but okay, like, yeah. We get Sunbird, Moon Temple Defenders, like Jesus, they went into to get you to try to buy the Dark Obsidian armor. They went into the freaking wheelhouse. Kitty Pryde, Red Queen is a relatively recent uniform for her, although it was lackluster. Kraven the Hunter, the Interdimensional Hunter. This is his most recent uniform, but like really, realistically, he had no place in terms of PvE or PvP. We get the growth bonus missions, the rank up missions, and then you get some energy bonus missions as well. The artifact unequipped costs are going to be decreased by 50%. They're going to have the character ranking event for Quicksilver. The gold special store, which I always love to see, especially because of the boost points, helps me accelerate the way I play Giant Boss Raid. Instead of having to run it 2 or 3 times, I can just run it once. We have the custom gear unequipped, 50% off. I don't know why we're still paying for these gear unequipped. Like, these should just be free. Comic card unequipped cost, 50% discount. So 50% sale there. Next up, we had the tier 4 growth material secret shop. Yep. So I guess everybody loved the secret shop. So now we're going to get another secret shop, another secret shop. They're like milking that money, boy. Oh shit. Like, we just had one inside the 9-year anniversary event, and they're bringing it back. And this is just looking like for tier 4 materials. So it's not even going to be any cheaper. Like, this is the reason. So let me be honest about something. This secret shop is the reason why I say, like, I hate when whales do certain things. Like, this is not for you, the free-to-play player. This is for the whales, right? But essentially, like, when you participate in things where things get that expensive and you're just like whaling to whale, sometimes it has ramification where those things will make their way into the game. Like we see that with like the Challenger Cycle event. Like we wanted updates to Timeline Battle, and what we got was a fucking view mode of watching whales basically be able to challenge each other and just cheer them on. That's not an update. And then people complain because we're like, oh, we didn't get an update to Timeline Battle, or we didn't get an update to PvP. No, you got it. You got it. You got exactly what you asked for. Like that's what it is. So that's why sometimes it's like not worth wailing on certain things. But yeah, so the secret shop is there. Like, to be honest with you, the secret shop from the 5-year anniversary and the one that comes in the fall with the Black Friday event is way better. I wouldn't fucking do this. Like, I mean, look at some of the values here for the tier 4 materials. It's like 120 carbonadium. Souls of the Fault Team is like 110 of these. So like you basically skip a day. Like, like it's 1 day worth for basically, like, come on, guys. So you can see here this 5-line achievement reward, and finally you can get a Dimension chest, Brilliant CTP, and it's a chance at a Brilliant CTP chest. So yeah, not for you guys. Trust me, don't wail on that. So the Artifact Chance Up event is also going to be here for the Powerful Wonder Twins update. So if you've got any of your Dimension chests, or you know, your Essence, then this would be the time for you to start working on those especially, like, for instance, you can see Scarlet is in here, Quicksilver is in here, and then Sentry is sitting here, and you want those artifacts. Same thing for Thor. Thor's gonna be a lot better if you get his artifact with the lightning resist on it. So it's a good choice to basically go for those. So those are all the events that are basically going on in the shop. I don't think there was any more. So take a look out for those. We should be getting a rolling update tonight, I believe it is. I didn't even pay attention to the top of the details. We should be getting a rolling update tonight that'll be starting around, no, this is a full-on patch. Never mind. So we got a full-on patch that's basically starting on Wednesday. So just be prepared. So it starts tonight at about 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So that'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Oh no, it is a wave patch. Okay, so the patch will be applied in wave. So it's a rolling update. So you should see this probably sometime by 1 in the morning. If you don't hit the first wave, usually the past couple of times has been there. So just pay attention to that. Like, the updates there, there's a lot meat to it. I'll try to bring you guys my impression of these uniforms as quick as possible. I know most people are going to be interested in Scarlet Witch the most. We'll see where she sits in there. I'm interested in her the most. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, guys. Peace.